Autumn descends upon the deciduous forests of southern Canada. The abundance of colourful leaves might just attract the fabled car enthusiasts. And there they are. Just shy of 6 feet and under 200 pounds. They're barely a threat. And something has their attention. It appears to be the new Audi RS3, a car that would usually fill them with murderous desire. But they know that Canada doesn't get the new RS3, so it cannot be. Doubt fills the air, and tensions remain low. Short of proof, it's likely they'll move on. It has come to sticks. But alas, wits prevail.
You're watching Throttle House. I'm Thomas.
And I'm James.
And this is the new Audi RS3.
And we're in Canada.
And that's weird because Canada doesn't get the new RS3. But thanks to Unitronic, a performance software and hardware manufacturer based out of Montreal, we have their development car for a brief Canadian visit. And before they slap it full of shiny new parts and a tune, they were nice enough to drive it down so we can test it out. And since we don't get this car up in maple syrup land, it's a bit of a tease. So here's hoping that we don't like it.
And if you're new to Throttle House, we do car reviews, track tests, and quite a lot of messing about. So subscribe, hit the bell. Okay, Audi RS3, little pocket rocket, little gun from Men in Black, launch control. Yeah, it's still a noisy cricket. Doesn't smash your head back into the seats, but once it gets on it, that's some serious power. 401 horsepower now. That's a 7 horsepower bump from last year, and 369 pound-feet of torque, which is a 15 pound-foot bump of torque. They've just tweaked it. Same engine, just tweaked. But all of that combined is enough for this to have just hit a 3.7 second 0 to 60. Audi claimed 3.6. That's pretty close. And we consistently, within 1/100th of a second today, hit 3.7. On a 13-degree sunny autumn day in Ontario, that's what the new Audi RS3 can do. It is quick. And by the way, the A3, give or take a few horsepower, gets 200 horsepower. The S3 gets 300 horsepower, and the RS3 gets, give or take, 400 horsepower. The difference is, those two get puny little 4-cylinder engines. And if you haven't been living under a rock, you'll know that this gets the only new inline 5-cylinder engine on the market. So it's got tones, it's got volume, this has got the sport exhaust as well. The 5-cylinder creates an unmistakable tone. You know, sometimes we'll be reviewing a car and you'll hear us say, yeah, the 4-cylinder sounds like a 4-cylinder, you know? Or a 6-cylinder, yeah, it's got that sort of V6 note to it. People get excited about the 5-cylinder because not only does it feel like there's multiple notes happening at the same time, there's a baritone to it. Paired with a 7-speed transmission, not only is it sonorous, but it's fully in your control. It is a musical instrument that at your fingertips just behaves. Because as rowdy as this is, it's your rowdy thing. Downshifts are great, upshifts it farts. The shifts are aggressive. There is a joy and an animatedness to this. It makes me wonder what this would be like if it was naturally aspirated and given the chance to really let out its pipes. But you put your foot down and suddenly you are grateful for the turbochargers again, because, I mean, even something like an M340i doesn't touch this on 0 to 60, and that is a fast car. Thomas and I often use the M340i as the measure of speed at the $60,000, $70,000 range. But maybe we should be using the RS3. God, it sounds good. It is a little rocket. But that was never the RS3's problem. It was already one of the best sounding cars on the road that moved really quickly. What we're more interested in is, until you get to the 6-figure range, normally cars that are very good at something fall down somewhere else. There's something you have to forgive. Mazda MX-5, terrible practicality. So much fun, you forgive it. The Ford Bronco, awful highway noise and terrible fuel economy. So good at Bronco things, so you forgive it. An Englishman walking towards the camera while talking to you and making cliched hand movements. You forgive him because the trees are so beautiful. So where does the RS3 fall down? What's its thing that we have to forgive?
Historically, the RS3 has always been great. Until you hit a corner, then it just feels like a Golf. And this one is exactly the same as that. Except now the Golf in question is the new Golf R, which handles fantastically. And that's because both this and the Golf R have that new trick differential in the rear. And what that does is that even though only 50% of the torque can go to the rear axle, 100% of that torque can be forced to one of the rear wheels as the computer sees fit. And that can kind of push the rear out of line and make the car drift. In fact, the Golf R has a drift mode. In this, it isn't called drift mode. It's called torque rear, which does kind of the same stuff that the drift mode does. It's not a very exciting name though, is it? But I feel if I asked an Audi engineer why it's called torque rear, he would say to me, well, it puts torque to Sevilla. I don't see what the problem is. See, so I select torque rear, I push that, and then I have to activate it, even though it's not meant for public roads. And it kind of does the same drift mode stuff that the Golf R does, but it's different in this. It almost feels like it's tightening the line for me, even in long sweeping corners, not corners where I want to drift. It's almost like it turns more than I requested with the steering wheel, like it's trying to initiate a drift. But it does, if you really get on it in the corner, push the rear out of the line and do a little skid. The RS3 never used to do that. This car's always been full of tricks to get around the fact that it fundamentally understeers. And this still has the staggered setup tire where it's literally wider tires in the front than it is in the rear. I will say though that all of these things together now do work, and there really isn't much understeer. This is now a more engaging car on the front end. Doesn't feel like a BMW, but it definitely feels better than it did. The steering though is still very, very Audi. You have to get a lot of load in the tires to actually feel anything in the steering. Otherwise it's kind of numb, but very Audi precise. And I'm in the performance mode now, so not the drift torque rear mode, just everything in the sportiest setting. But I can turn all of that off, put it into comfort mode, and this calms down into pretty much just a Golf. The exhaust is quiet, the ride is good, steering is light. It's an easy car to drive. Except it's not completely like the Golf in a few very crucial areas.
Okay, so.
Now, wait.
Oh yeah.
RS3. How
I love it.
Cheesy.
No, it's so good.
Okay,
that
listen though. It's cheesy, but I love it.
Yeah, there's a certain level of theatre.
Yeah.
You're spending 60 grand.
Yeah.
That you want.
Of course.
I would take that over the Mercedes emblem that glows from factory. any day.
I would take diphtheria over a Mercedes badge.
All right, bad example. But you know, for Audi to do that, they must have been high at the office. Someone being like, we should have fun with this. They're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, this
is not the Volkswagen office. Well, that's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah, this coming from the same brand that refused to put a drift mode in the RS what? The RS6. When BMW did it, when Mercedes did it.
They were like, we're not doing that. We want.
Right.
Yeah, it's not about that.
Yeah, I think you said they must be fun at parties.
Yeah.
Was your exact quote.
And you know
what?
what?
Then they come out with that.
Well, maybe the RS3 team's different, and they are fun at parties.
I guess they are.
And they've got a fun sports
Everybody
exhaust.
wants to jam out with the RS3 team.
Exactly.
This is what I'm picturing the Audi office is
And
like.
I think that's why it's got such an appeal, such a wide appeal. Like, we were discussing this off camera. This is possibly the most cross-shopped thing ever. Someone from a 911 is going for something a bit more practical.
Yep.
So I saw a thread, a guy with a RAV4 Prime was upset that he didn't consider this. Someone from a Cayman...
Is that just because the RAV4 Prime is marked up a lot and people are overpaying for
Yes,
them?
this is only tens of dollars more than a RAV4 Prime. Well, this is probably getting marked up
It's going to
as
get
well.
marked up in the States as well, yeah.
But yeah, I think...
It's crossed up with everything.
Everything.
It's
Someone
weird.
who has a Civic Type R that wants to grow up a little bit, although with that RS3 now. and it's so unique as a result, and it's so unique because of the inline 5.
Listen, it's a really special car, and dare I say, after driving it and the whole thing, worth the money. Assuming you can get it for that price, but you probably can't.
It's come a short way from the previous RS3 in the best way.
It suffers from missing bumper syndrome. The same as the Elantra N,
Yeah,
right?
I see
Like,
it
where
here
is
now.
it?
Yeah.
It's just a...
Well, this has got the black optics. There's a few little packages you can get for this car, and they're all a bit cosmetic for the most part. So this has the black optics package, so it turns the rings black, the badge black, the roof black, and I think the wing mirror house is black, the wheels go black. But they haven't gone for the carbon fiber package on this one. Which turns a lot of stuff carbon fiber as well. But that's expensive. And there's also like a $5,500 package that gets you ceramic brakes in the front, sport brakes in the back, and 180 mile an hour top speed.
Do you need that? Like, unless you live in Germany and you have an Autobahn.
That's an easy $5,500 to save, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
But this is spec'd in Kimura Grey. I'm trying to, the way I remember it is it's the Marvel Gamora, but it's Kimura.
But that would be green.
No, that's Gorlami Green.
Gorlami Green.
Which they have for this car.
Which is actually Kyalami?
It's just the characters to me now.
Right, yeah.
But you can also get in like Python Yellow, Tango Red. This is almost a subdued colour for this car, but I think it works very well.
Yeah, you can get this in bright colours. Listen, I want to say that I think this is a good looking car, but I actually like the previous gen better, I think.
No, so okay, I get that. The previous gen was more of a sleeper. It didn't look that different to an S3, and you were like, whoa, how did that just do that at the light? Yeah. This has gone muscular. I kind of like it. First of all, it's got 1.3 inch wider track than the previous gen.
Whoa.
And compared to the S3, it sits just under half an inch lower.
Yeah.
Compared to an A3, it's almost, I think it's a full inch lower.
See, I had to check again, because I said it on camera, but I had to check.
Yeah.
That the tires in the front are actually wider than the tires in the rear.
265s versus 245s.
They've done everything they could to get rid of understeer. And you know, they have, for the most part, right?
It's weird though, it's almost like an admission that fundamentally the car is flawed.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
it's just constant Band-Aids. This car's just covered in Band-Aids, basically.
Yes, and that's an expensive Band-Aid for 60,000 starting US.
But if you wrap a wound for long enough, it will heal, right?
The biggest issue the RS3 had in my mind, beyond the understeer, which for daily driving wasn't a deal breaker,
right?
It was that at that money, it still looked like a base A3 inside. And on the previous generation, that meant it was very simple. And I think it's come a long way now.
Let's take a look. Okay. Looks like a modern art gallery.
Yeah, well, so we briefly touched on the S3 when we did the drag race against the M240i and the Golf R.
Yes.
And it's basically the same. I think these seats are a little bit more bolstered.
They say RS on them.
They say RS. Cool. The wheel says RS on it, and it's fully perforated everywhere.
But this is really nice, and like it's really nice for a couple of reasons. One, this is the absolute correct use of a touchscreen in a car. It's not too lent on the touchscreen. It's not like annoying to use. It's a very simple interface, and it gives you an audible click.
Is this what you mean by integrated?
This is what I mean. It's built
Yeah,
in. It
yeah.
doesn't look like an iPad stuck to the dash. And I still have physical buttons for all the relevant stuff, right? Fan, down, up. It's easy.
Yeah.
Right? And they click, 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 click.
No, I know, it's very easy to get on with. But the proportions still upset me because there is a hatch of this. And it exists.
Oh, like a hatch would be so much better, honestly.
Right? Like Canadians are worse off because we don't get it at all.
Yeah.
But like the rear seats, same as the S3, I have 1 finger's width of headroom.
Yeah.
And Harrison, who's 6'6", does not fit.
Just
at all.
doesn't fit, period,
No.
right? It's dumb. It's just dumb. Why not? I don't know. Steering wheel's great. I love the click of the paddle shifters.
Tactile is the word we use a lot. Tactile.
No, it's
Yeah.
honestly good. The seats are comfortable.
It's got a little stubby shifter again.
Yeah.
That seems to be. I have a feeling that. So here's my theory.
Okay, here it comes.
All the big shifters,
Yep.
you know, you go home and you put your hand around your shifter, and
Yeah.
you feel a little bit underwhelmed.
Right.
This makes men feel like kings.
Right. This is.
I think that's what's going on here.
And later on, you're like,
Yeah,
whoa!
or alternatively, because obviously anyone can buy this car,
Yes.
the ladies go home and their gentlemen feel like kings.
Like king!
There is something going on over in Germany.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so, someone's feeling a little bit
They're
insecure
changing
somewhere.
the narrative.
Yeah.
So if that's what the stubby shifter achieves, I'm all for it.
No, this is all you need.
Yeah.
Size doesn't matter when it comes to shifters, James.
No.
Okay. I don't have much more to say about this other than the fact that I think they've done an excellent job combining design with functionality, like the design of these handles. They're at a perfect angle for your fingers. They're really easy to use and they're in an obvious spot, but they look really cool, right? Everything is integrated in a logical way, but also looks great. This is, I think, a masterclass in modern German car interior.
That is a high
It is,
compliment.
I like, obviously it gets nicer than this.
But I think
in materials
that's what the
wise.
RS3 represents. It's the beginning of everything. Like, you can't complain about anything. The Bang & Olufsen system's good.
Yes.
You can rock out to music. You can
Yep.
drive fast. You can carve a canyon. You can take the whole family.
Yep.
It looks pretty good doing it. It makes a great sound doing it. And yeah, I mean,
And you pay for it.
and you pay for it. But
Eight.
well,
So much money.
I'm sure there's markup. But
Yep.
starting at 60,000 US, considering the Golf R in the States is like 44.5 or 45 grand US.
Golf R makes it, yeah.
This is a $15,000 premium on a Golf R.
Yep.
And I guess its true competitor would be the CLA 45, which is another front-wheel drive-based 4MATIC thing.
Where's my volume knob? I just realized. I was about to say it's
This,
perfect.
You only ever use this.
Okay, fine.
Having owned an Audi, that is all you ever use.
Okay, fine. It's a knob. It's, yeah, as long as you can, like, physically move it.
Yes.
There's one down here, too. It's kind
Yeah,
of
that's
weird.
a bit like an iPod,
okay.
original iPod.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Otherwise, should we do a conclusion?
yeah.
Okay.
So, the Audi RS3. More capable and better than it's ever been. If your hunger for an automatic all-wheel drive, tactile button-filled stubby sedan with 5 cylinders remains high, it should probably remain top of your list, seeing as it's the only one. And until you add a Unitronic at-home flash tune, or before you can get your hands on some of their parts to make your RS3 or any other VW or Audi product have more zing, then you'll just have to be content with 3.7 seconds to 60 and the stock bellow of a spicy 5-cylinder. Not too shabby. Thanks for watching.